Welcome to Go Groomer on YouTube. I'm so happy to see you guys. I have a whole new bag for you guys. I've been working really hard to come up with the best use of our time here on Go Groomer YouTube. So anyway, let me introduce myself because I can't wait to get chatty. Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Leigh, certified professional pet groomer since 2003, but it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the pet grooming industry so you can provide the same level of quality care for the pets you groom that I offer to my pet clients as a professional pet groomer. I give you those secrets and you do wonderful things with them. That's what we do. It's a trade-off. So one of my goals here on my YouTube channel, as you all know, is to bring a new voice to the pet grooming industry. And that is one that includes pet owners as valuable consumers and not just pet groomers. Having a place to learn proper dog grooming techniques and receive professional advice on tools, products, and where to get them, how to use them, is essential. It is absolutely essential. And that's why I created this YouTube channel for you and the pets you groom. Welcome to Go Groomer on YouTube. Tonight's topic is awesome. It is a guide to master the most common dog grooming trim, pet trim. A guide to master the most common dog grooming pet trim. Is this not what you've been waiting for? When I say most common, what do I mean? I mean, this is a trim that you could apply to most of the dogs that you groom. A lot of dogs fall into this category where they just get a complete all-over trim, right? Not a shave down, a trim. I mean, you can shave them if you need to. But what I'm giving you tonight is the exact guard combs, blades, tools that I would use for this go-to trim of mine that I pretty much go to all the time and have for the last 22 years. It's a pet trim, and I've laid it out for you in a beautiful way, and I can't wait to give it to you. So today I'm giving you my personal go-to pet trim option, along with one of the most common blade and guard comb choices that professional dog groomers use every day. So this is a go-to trim. It wouldn't be a trim for a breed standard trim like a Scotty or a Westie. I mean, you could modify it, but a Schnauzer, certain poodle trims are very specific, as well as other breed standard trims. But I gotta tell you, the majority of pet grooms that us pet groomers perform on a daily basis, let's face it, there are so many mixed breeds right now. Everything's mixed with a Shih Tzu, a Poodle, a Maltese, or a Yorkie. Those are the common things. So what we get is often a fluffy dog. So this is like a fluffy dog haircut, guys. So picture a Shih Tzu, picture a Maltese, even a Yorkie. I mean, you could do this on a Westie. It's a Lhasa Apso. This is a very common pet trim, and I'm going to give you a detailed description of what blades, what tools, what methods to use when you apply this trim. This is amazing. This guide is designed to give you a strong foundation that you can apply to almost any dog that you groom, unless it's a breed standard trim. But like I said, let's face it, most of what we do is an all-over, just an all-over length trim. That's the most common thing that we do as pet groomers. It keeps the pets the most comfortable between grooming appointments too, because it is pet grooming. And the whole idea of pet grooming is to give the dog a haircut that sort of goes along with his lifestyle, right? That he can enjoy life, that you can enjoy life with your dog. He doesn't get too overgrown, too smelly. Obviously, we don't want him to become matted, so we put on what I like to call my common pet trim. That's what we're talking about today. So if you've ever struggled with questions like, what steps should I follow when I'm grooming? Or which blades, which guard combs, what tools, what products should I use for a typical comfortable trim for my dog or for the pets I groom? Then you're in the right place here today. So give yourselves a big hand You landed in the right place tonight. I'm so glad you're here. I've put together some great screen shares, okay, guys? So get your cameras ready so you can take screenshots. You're gonna want this. Or if you're viewing me on your mobile device right now in that little rectangle, am I there in that little rectangle? Then you can simply take a screenshot, okay, when I throw these screen shares up. But these screen shares are gonna be great. I'm going to be throwing them up on the screen during this workshop so that so you understand and you have something to refer to. So that you might want to take a quick screenshot when I throw those up there to reference later, okay, guys? But I want to tell you, all of my channel members, I see you. I see you. All my channel members have a special little icon. Some are purple, some are orange. You'll see that. So all the channel members are showing up in green text on the screen. So if you see anybody's name that is in the color green, they're my channel members. And I see you, hounds. I love you. I'm going to see you this Sunday. So here, listen up, channel members. If you are a Go Groomer channel member, you're also known as one of my amazing hounds. Yes, you know who you are. Then you won't need to do this. You won't need to take the screenshots. You won't need to, because I already prepared a full printable guide for you. Yeah, I did. So we're going to have a special monthly live stream as we do every month with my channel members. Let me show you something. This is going to be the thumbnail for my channel members this Sunday when we get together. Our member meetings are lessons, and they're called Sheer Joy with Amy, Leigh, and the Hounds. And they're monthly live, but then they're uploaded to YouTube. So if you don't want to join the live Zoom call, because not a lot of people like Zoom, I get it, then you all know it's going to be uploaded to YouTube and posted on the community tab, or it's also known as the post tab if you're on mobile. On my YouTube channel. So only channel members can view those lessons, but it's pretty awesome. So what you're going to get, guys, all of you are going to get a wonderful lesson here today. But my channel members, you're going to get all of today's details neatly wrapped up into one comprehensive download during our monthly learning session scheduled for this Sunday. So I can't wait. And even better, in that private session, I'm including a bonus section that I'm not including here today. And that bonus section is where I'll teach you the essentials for grooming double-coated breeds as well, shedding breeds. So another huge skill that every groomer needs to master, but that's what I do for my channel members. If you're not a channel member yet, definitely consider it if you're serious about taking your grooming skills to the next level. It's packed with value, education, and tools to support your success. That's what I do with my channel members. I want them to succeed. I want all of you to succeed in pet grooming and in your pet grooming adventures. But my channel members are paying $5 a month. That's all it costs. That's a deal. So anyway, they get a little more. They get a little more. So guys, if you're a channel member, and I see many of you are here today, I'm just reminding you that everything that I'm sharing here today is going to be neatly packaged up for you in your PDF, and we're going to go over it in a different way in our learning session this Sunday. But I'm also including the shedding breeds, essential tools, methods, and techniques in your lesson for Sunday. So now you got a little peek through as to what we're going to be doing, and it's going to be awesome. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind you that everything that I mentioned in today's workshop, including tools and products, is linked in the description below. If you don't see it, that's because you're seeing the live chat. But if you close the live chat and you click the more button or show more, it drops down a whole bunch of information that I've packed in there for you guys before I started this live stream, so that you have everything that you need in reference to what I'm talking to in the video tonight. So don't worry about missing anything. I pretty much got you covered everywhere. So are you ready? Let's dive in and let's get you on the fast track to easier grooming. And this trim is one that applies to a lot of pets, a lot of situations. So first, we know that following the same steps with every dog that you groom is the very first thing that you should focus on if you want to begin your grooming journey with real purpose. Following the same steps is very important. Got something to show you there. So I created this. This is a download. You have to take it to be laminated if you want to, but it's something you can lay right on your table beside you as you're learning to memorize these steps of the groom. And eventually you will have them memorized and you won't need a reference. But in the description below, I've linked 2 great options for you guys to use as references to help you stay consistent. This is one of them. This is a paid product. I believe this one is only $5 if I'm correct, so it's pretty reasonable. And then you print it out, download it, and go have it laminated with your local office supply store, and you keep it with you. It's pretty durable at that point. So if you want even more guidance than a guide or something like this, I've got several videos right here on my YouTube channel that walk you through exactly how I follow these steps. They're called my 11 steps to groom any dog, and how to make them part of your core dog grooming principles. I mean, it's a winner. That's what you want to do. You want to make my 11 steps to groom any dog your dog grooming principles that you follow. So, are you with me? You still with me? It's a fun lesson. Oh, look at all of our hound members. Oh, you guys can't wait to get this printout. I know. I don't blame you. I'm lucky. I already have it because I spent hours and hours creating it. But the nice thing is I know what I need to create for you guys because I know what works. So it's easy for me and it's fun. And as I'm creating our lessons and our guides that my channel members get, I get so excited because I'm like, that's good. That's what people need to know. That's what was missing from my curriculum when I learned to groom. There's a lot of things missing in dog grooming curriculum because I think you just can't pack it all in, but I feel like that's where I come in, and I specialize in sealing up those gaps, you know, like literally letting you guys understand what those gaps are and bring it all together for you differently. Consistency is the key to grooming, guys, and following steps, and it all starts by building strong habits from the very beginning. Now, with that said, let's move on to the 3 essential categories that each single grooming session follows. Yeah, you ready? You got your screenshot fingers ready? Because here we go. I'm going to give you the first screenshot. Let me see. Hold on. I got a lot going on my screen here. This one. This is breaking the 11 steps to groom any dog down into 3 categories, which is what I have done, and that there's a free version of this linked, not this, but just my 11 steps listed. A free version of that is listed in the description below. Most of you have it. Thousands of people have downloaded that. And that is just a text version of what to do. So this is a different way that I'm putting it to you guys, kind of breaking it into categories. I do this stuff for my channel members all the time. Every professional groomer works through these main phases when they're grooming each dog, okay? These are the main phases that we focus on. We break our grooms up into 3 phases when we're grooming. Understanding and following these categories will give your grooms a clear structure, better results, and more confidence every time you step up to the grooming table. So to take a screenshot of that, guys, because these are the 3 categories you break a groom into. Now, we're just getting started here with this lesson. So let's break them down together, starting with the first category, which is coat prep. So that is this image. No, first we got to talk tools. Did I skip something? Yes. So I want you to understand that these, it's hard for me. It was hard for me to lay this out. So these are the tools that are required for the pet trim that I'm talking about today. You're going to need a slicker brush, a grooming comb, which I've linked all that for you guys in detail in order for you, clipper blades, clippers and clipper blades, you're going to need either a corded or a cordless A5 clipper, preferably, guys. So that would be like a Walt KM10, the KMC, cordless, the Joyzy Falcon, Andis AGC. There's so many. You're going to need specific blade sizes. Really all you need is a 10 blade. That is really all you need. But I do prefer to use a 30 blade just in the pads of the feet, and please don't use that 30 blade anywhere else. So as a beginner, I don't like to tell people to get that 30 blade, because when I was a beginner focusing on the steps of the groom, I would forget to change my blade when I pulled the guard comb off. And I would go in for that sanitary trim. And if it's a 30, you're going to send that dog through the roof. It's going to cause clipper irritation. It's going to burn the skin. Not burn like hot burn. Irritate, razor burn is what it does. So be careful considering a 30 blade. I do always use a 30 blade in the pads of the feet, but always a 10 in the sanitary. And all clippers come with a 10 blade. Professional clippers. So you're covered on that. There are 2 guard combs that I want you to focus on with this trim that I'm sharing with you today. And that is a 0 comb, which is a 5/8 inch length. And it's a number 2 comb, which is a 3/8 inch length. Those are the 2 combs that you can use to set the length for your common pet trim that we're talking about today. You're going to need a straight shear, curved shear, thinner, blender shear, or possibly a chunker. But you can get it all done with 1 straight shear if you want to, but it's challenging. Your blenders erase your mistakes. Your curves set you right up for the right angles on the top of the head, the jawline, around the feet. Curved shears are nice, but that's why I created my set of sapphire shears with Kenchi, because I wanted you to be able to buy a set of shears that covered all those bases for you, that you could buy as a set or you can purchase them individually. But you do save money if you buy them as a set. So some of the other essentials that I am just kind of skipping over today because it's prep work. We are going to talk about prep work, but in prep work, in that first category that I told you guys about, let me show you real quick. In this first category, coat prep, okay. These things that says other essentials, those are all the things that are part of coat prep. Clipping the nails, cleaning the ears, the shampooing and the conditioning, your finishing spray, which is like a dematting. I usually use a dematting spray. Some people call it a finishing spray. You can use it before you clip the dog after you dry him. You can mist it into the coat too, and it just adds a little firmness to the coat. So you get more precise results, basically. That's what that's for. The absorber towels I feel are essential. I have used them from the time I got my first one to this day. I use absorber towels. They pull so much water out of the coat before we go for that high velocity forced air dryer, and it shortens the drying process, and it means a lot to the dog, trust me. So the absorber towel is essential, and of course our dryer. Our dryer is essential. We want to straighten the coat out as much as possible when we dry a dog. Why is that important? Let me just tell you right now. The reason a lot of people come to pick up their dogs from the groomer, and I have heard it so much over the years. That doesn't look like Charlie. Like, they don't think it looks bad, but they're looking at their dog. They're used to seeing their dog with coily, shaggy hair in his eyes for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And then when I get his hair all straightened out from the blow drying process, they're like, it doesn't even look like him, because his coat looks completely different, because it's straight, clean, it's aerated, and all the fun stuff. So I always found that funny, but I understood why they all said, that doesn't look like Charlie, or that doesn't look like Fluffy. But here, what I'm going to tell you a little secret is the reason that us groomers straighten the coat with our forced air dryers and our fluff dryers, our stand dryers, and brushing, is so that when we go to apply the trim with a clipper and a guard comb, we're getting an even length. That's important. Let's think about that. If your dog's coat is wavy and coily and out of whack, and we go ahead and clip it, and we didn't straighten out the coat, once he goes home and the coat relaxes and everything, it's going to be uneven. You need the coat to be straightened out as much as possible so that you can get an even, precise trim. That's why we straighten the coat. Plus, we think as professionals, that looks great, you know? But think of it when your hairstylist pulls your hair nice and straight so she can clip. She has to be precise, or when you're done, you're going to have all these uneven lengths. And it's the same with us as pet groomers. We have to straighten out the coat as much as possible. I have 2 forced air dryers linked in the description below for you. Both of them kick butt. They're both great. If you really want a kick butt dryer, you go for the K9 that I've linked. And it'll last you so many years. I had a K9 3. I finally blew up one of the motors because I didn't change the carbon brushes. It was my fault. You're supposed to change them every year, which is simple. I finally blew up one of the motors, but I used that thing on, at the time I was doing a lot of large shedding breeds, a lot of golden retrievers, but even more so than that, Newfoundlands, a lot of those. I even had 2 Leonbergers that were on my schedule regularly. I had a Samoyed that came every 4 weeks. So we're talking lengthy blowouts. So this K9 3 dryer was running for an hour straight. And it's powerful. It's very powerful. So mine lasted me, that one had 2 motors in it. And it was, I called it the Master Blaster. But that lasted me, I'd say 15 years, but I really used it hard. I mean, on those double-coated dogs, and then the doodle craze started after that, and then it was all these doodles. So it was a great one. But anyway, back to lesson. So we are breaking down this stuff into 3 categories. The first one is coat prep, because remember I showed you this image right here. So these are the 3 categories, right? Coat prep, clipper work, and then scissor work. And that's how I want you to think of dog grooming. So take that screenshot, and when you're working with your dog, you automatically say, I am breaking this grooming session, this one single grooming session, into 3 categories, okay? I want you to think of that from now on. Coat prep, clipper work, and scissor work. And the things are gonna come together for you, I promise. So let's break down, not that, coat prep. That's the one I want. Okay. Coat prep is very important. You guys know this. I say it all the time. It's essential to begin every grooming session with thorough bathing, always conditioning, drying, and brushing the dog. These early steps, coat prep, lay the foundation for the entire groom. A clean, properly prepared coat not only makes clipping and scissoring easier, but it also helps you achieve a smoother, more polished final result. So coat prep, bathing, conditioning, brushing, and drying is so, so important. Skipping or rushing through this phase can lead to uneven cuts. It can cause your blade to pack heavily or not want to go through the coat. Or it can even cause skin irritation because you're pushing harder on, excuse me, on the blade if you don't properly prepare that coat and be able to slide a comb through it before you start your clipper work. So it's always worth investing in this time up front, guys, with your coat prep. Great grooming always starts with a great coat prep. And you've heard me say it, you've heard others say it. So in the description, I did break this down for you guys, kind of as you're going to see it here on screen. Pre-brushing, sometimes we have to do pre-trimming. If the dog hasn't been groomed for a while, we may have to do pre-trimming, but I've got other videos on that, so stay with me right here. We'll talk about this now. Pre-brushing is important. We're trying to eliminate dead and tangled coat. That's important. That's what causes mats, is the dead coat that hasn't been brushed out. So a little pre-brushing, getting the dog ready to go, loosening up dander, loosening up the hair at the skin level is important. And then the bath, the shampoo and conditioner that's the magic. We're restoring the coat with the shampooing and the conditioning process. We're cleansing and then we're rehydrating. So let's call that restoring, because we are restoring the skin and coat. Drying and fluffing. This is important. We just mentioned about straightening the coat. You want it to be straight and you want it to be absolutely dry before you start trimming so that you get a precise trim. Professional results. You can get professional results every time if you follow this. And then a final brush out before we start trimming is very important, because after we go through when you're drying the dog, you're going to get little bitty sort of whip tangles from the dryer. So we have to brush them out again quickly. It doesn't take long, couple minutes, even if it's a large breed. We're just whacking through any of those little whippy things that happen when we're drying the dog. So the hair kind of whips around itself sometimes. But you got to straighten all that out. You slide a comb through the coat everywhere. If you could slide a comb from the skin out all the way through the coat, now you're ready for trimming. So that is coat prep. Also in coat prep is definitely, like I said here, you'll see here where I have other essential tools and products. The nail clippers, the ear cleaning, all that is done, and it's all laid out for you in my 11 steps to groom any dog. Every single one of these steps. But the nail trimmers, ear cleaners, even septic powder, you have to have it on hand in case you accidentally nick the quick a little bit and cause a little bit of blood. You have to stop the blood. So these are things that all go into coat prep. The things that say other essentials, aside from brushes and combs. So moving on, the next thing we're going to talk about, because we're breaking down our 3 categories, remember? So we talked about coat prep. Now we got to talk about clipper work. So the next phase, if you remember, I'll give you another peek. I keep hitting the wrong buttons, my friends. There. After we've taken care of coat prep, the next thing is clipper work. And when I say clipper work, I want you to do all the clipper work, all of it. And when you put that clipper down, you should not need to pick it back up. Okay, this is how we move on through the next phases, which the next phase is scissor finish work. So I want you to really understand that, guys, that I want you to think of clipper work as that's something that I perform, I complete, and I move on. If you're constantly bouncing back and forth between tools, scissors, clippers, you're kind of out of sorts with the groom at that point. As far as how are you even on track? How do you know what your next step is, what you're scissoring next? Because you don't really have a plan, and you have to have a plan so that the groom doesn't take you longer, much longer than it needs to, because both you and the dog are going to be ready to quit the groom. You're both going to be ready to quit that groom. And you don't want to quit. So now you're rushing, and you don't want to rush. So now we're moving on to clipper work. This is the second phase. Every groomer follows these 3 categories. So we did talk a little bit about tools already. I included everything from sanitary trimming, the paw pads, the feet, the private areas, the body clipping, the guard combs, everything that is planned for this common pet trim. It's all in the description below. So now we're talking clipper work. Getting all the clipper work done first sets the clean foundation for your finishing steps, which is your scissor work. And that makes your scissor work faster and easier, and definitely will produce a smoother and more polished look for you. But perform all the clipper work in this order. I want you to perform the clipper work in this order. The body and the legs, the head, the ears, and the tail. If you're doing any clipper work on the ears or the tail, usually I use a fluffy ear and a fluffy tail on a common pet trim and just kind of hand scissor it. And then the last thing is your sanitary trimming with the 10 blade. The sanitary trimming includes the private areas, the pads of the feet, and around the anus, and maybe sometimes at the corner of the eyes and in front of the earlobes. Those are all considered detailed sanitary trimming that should always be done with a 10 blade. The final, before you get to your scissor work, I want you to follow this order, guys. Clip the body, clip the legs, clip the head, so set the length on the head. As you can see here on the left, I say here for the body and the legs, on this common pet trim, one of the most common pet trims, 3/8 of an inch guard comb, which is, what was that? I said it was a number 1? Yes, number 2 guard comb. It's a 3/8. They all have the number on them, what the measurement is it leaves. It leaves 3/8 length of coat. That's what it does. That is a very common pet trim that is my go-to, from the base of the skull all the way down the body, under the undercarriage, down the legs. Set the length with that 3/8. Then switch to the 5/8 and set the top of the head, under the jaw line, the cheeks, and the muzzle. If you want a fuller muzzle, then just hand scissor the muzzle, which is the part, we like to call them beards. But I would at least set the under part, under the jaw, with that 5/8, the same as I used on the top of the head. That way it aligns, it balances the head. And then the last thing I do is the sanitary trimming with my clipper work. And that's always with a cooled down 10 blade. So I'm always telling you guys to have a couple of blades of each blade that you have. If that's 10, 30, 10, 5, 4, 7 blades. Have 2 of them, because when they go dull, they go down, they don't give you any notice. And another reason is so you always have a cool blade that you can switch out. They're going to get hot. Every clipper blade gets hot because it's metal, and that metal on metal is moving quickly. We're talking, what, 5,800 or 58,000, 5,800, 5,800 strokes per minute. That's fast. That's how fast these clipper blades are moving against each other. So having a cooled blade, always checking your blade against your skin. Oh, it's getting warm. I better think about changing this blade. Okay, it's hot. It's coming off. I'm going to set it down to cool, and I'm going to put my cool blade on my clipper and continue on. A lot of people leave comments wondering why their blade gets so hot. That is normal for all clippers except your detachable blade or your adjustable blades, your 5-in-1 clippers, because they're made of plastic. The blade is not a metal blade. So you're not going to have metal on metal. You're not going to have that heat up thing. But what's the benefit of metal blades? The benefits is they're strong, they stay sharp long, and they're precise. That's the benefit. So just keep a cooled blade. That's very important. So that covers clipper work. And for this common pet trim, are you still following along? I'm using 2 guard combs, a 10 blade with a 3/8 inch guard comb for the body and the legs. And I take that off and I pop my 5/8 inch, which is a 0 comb, and I set the length on the top of the head, on the cheeks, and I often will come this way over the head when I'm doing, whoopsies, I just pulled some of my hair out. I will come that way over the head. I'll come up the chin and right on the jawline here with my 5/8 inch guard comb. Those 2 guard combs will get you a beautiful trim. And there's a reason why it's a 5/8 and a 3/8 inch on the body and the legs. Because the 5/8 leaves a little fuller head like we all like to see, but not too horribly long that it's going to look out of sorts. And the 3/8 inch just leaves a plush, almost like a stuffed animal looking finish. And everybody wants their dogs to look like a stuffed animal, right? So the 3/8, it's just perfect. And it's also a maintainable trim for both you and the pet. It's fine for summer or for winter because it's leaving enough coat to keep a barrier between the atmosphere and your dog's skin. The 3/8 is perfect. I like to typically use a 1/2 inch on Gus, but I have a lot more maintenance, a lot more brushing, a lot more bathing in between trimming him. And he's a lot of work. So in the summer, I definitely would be shortening him up to at least a 3/8 inch guard comb on the body and the legs, because it just, you know, he's going to be out there at the pool. He's going to be hanging out with us. So the common pet trim, my go-to, is your 10 blade, your A5 style clipper, which is a detachable blade clipper like this. This is how the blade goes on and off, and this is the type of blade it is. All right. This is your professional pet grooming clipper and blade. That's what you want to have. And also the 3/8 inch guard comb and the 5/8 inch guard comb. And that is what you need in the area of clippers and blades to do this common pet trim. And if you take a look at my Big Gus, he's in a common pet trim. He is. Sometimes I'll use a longer length because I want him to look fluffy, but I know I got more brushing and bathing to do. He's not going to stay as clean as long as he would if it was a little bit shorter. So the next thing we're going to do is move on over to category 3. This is the last category. So isn't it cool? You break it into 3 categories: coat prep, clipper work, and scissor work. The final step to successful grooming is executing all your scissor and finishing work after the clipper work is done. Guys, if you have questions, do what Susie's doing. Hold the dash bar, type your question. I will be scrolling back up and answering your questions. We're about to get to that point in the session today, so stay with me. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I know you got questions, and I hope you do, because I welcome them. They help everybody. So the last and final step after we've done coat prep properly, clipper work properly, is scissor finishing work. And this is where you polish and perfect the look, bringing everything together for a clean, professional result. It's the last step. It's the final haul. It should end up becoming one of your favorite parts of the groom. At first, scissor work feels challenging because you've got to build that dexterity, but you will the more you do it. Scissoring isn't just about trimming stray hairs. Okay, this is important. It's about shaping, balancing, and refining the entire groom. So if we want to shape that head into a round head, well, our guard combs just set a length for us, but it's still out of sorts a little bit. We have to polish it in with creating the shape, rounding in the shape, rounding the feet, bringing the legs. It's going to be a little out of sorts. It always is. But using guard combs gets us there fast. We would have to hand scissor it without the guard combs, right? So it's important to use those guard combs. So now that you understand the 3 main categories every grooming session follows, it's time to drill down a little deeper. We're going to break down those categories and go over exactly what tools, products, and techniques you need for success. But before we jump into that deeper dive of the tools, products, and techniques, let's first run through a full list of those tools again. I want to give you a peek. I know I'm going backwards. You guys are like, come on, where's that? Take your screenshot. These are the tools broken into categories, okay? So we're going to talk about them a little deeper right now. Let's see if I have a little, I guess I could pull that image back up. I mean, because here's the thing. Having the right setup already ready to go before you start makes the entire grooming process smoother. So, having these little cheat sheets, these little snapshots for you guys to understand and put everything in perspective and understand what tools you need is a big win. It's going to get you one step ahead of the game. It's going to get you there faster. It's going to become much more enjoyable when you have this plan for both you and the dogs that you groom. So if you're a professional groomer or beginner and you're just starting out, I want you to lay out the tools that you're going to use for each groom right before the dog comes in. So you're already pre-making a plan, and that's important. So if you say, I'm going to use Amy's go-to common pet trim today, I'm going to want my detachable blade clipper, my 10 blade, my 30 blade for the paw pads. I'm going to want my 3/8 inch guard comb and my 5/8 inch guard comb. And I'm going to want my blending shears, my straight shears, and my curved shears. And maybe even a chunker, if you're comfortable with that. But so you'll lay all that out. You'll get your shampoo pre-mixed. You're making your game plan. It's very important. So let's pull up the tools again while I talk about tools here. The tools and the products that we're talking about right now, as I said, we're all listed in the description for you guys below. But as we move forward, I just want to make sure that you guys know that I've already picked the tools for you You're going to say, well, what if I use the adjustable blade? What if I use it? If you have an adjustable blade clipper and that's what you want to use, you make sure that you have the proper blades that go with it and guard combs, or you really can't follow along with what I'm teaching you today if you have an adjustable blade clipper, because you can't use any of the blade settings on the standard blade that comes with it. It's too short to give a dog a haircut. So let's just scroll down here. We didn't talk about, oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. No, we did. We talked about the 10 blade and the 30 blade for your clippers, which is, here we go. When we're talking about clipper work, you really, really only need that 10 blade, okay? The 30 blade is only for the paw pads if you're comfortable enough using a 30 blade and being certain to not use it in any other areas of the dog other than the paw pads. So I want to make that clear because it will cause clipper irritation every time. Every time a 30 blade will, in the sanitary areas, especially the privates. The skin is just way too tender. It's too sensitive. So your 10 blade is your safe blade, not a 7 blade. No, it has teeth on it. It can catch skin. It really can. 30 blade is too short. So 10 blade, and you can use that 10 blade under your guard combs, which is a 3/8 inch guard comb and a 5/8 inch guard comb. That's the 2 guard combs that you need. If you have the full set of wall stainless steel or something like that, that's great, because you can play around with those if you feel like you want your dog longer or shorter. The rule of thumb, which we've talked about in other live streams, my golden rule of thumb with choosing guard combs is if I'm using, say, 1/4 of an inch on the body and the legs, I'm going to go up 2 guard combs higher. So I would go to a 1/2 inch to set the length on the head, under the chin, and the cheeks, and possibly the muzzle. So that's my rule, is 2 guard combs up higher. And it just leaves a balanced look, and it's easy to scissor finish afterwards. So now we need to talk about scissor finishing. That is our last little step here. I think we did talk about this a little bit, but I want to make sure that you understand. So what I prefer to have is a straight shear. I like an 8-inch shear. That's me. I was raised on it in grooming. There's no doubt. I started with an 8-inch shear when I was a beginner. That way I always had the right shear in my hand. If I needed to do a larger area, like down the legs or under the underline, I had the right shear in my hand. So getting used to only using the tip of your shear in those detailed areas, you barely have to open the shear. Using that 8-inch shear, getting used to controlling it is very important. I didn't always use a curved shear, but I finally fell into that, I don't know, probably 15 years ago, I would say. It seems, I'm thinking, I picture myself being a lot younger then, so it must have been about 15 years. But I started to like it. It's just more shears to maintain and to keep sharp. So don't sharpen your own shears ever. You will mess them up. You don't understand the type of honed edges that are on your shears. Do not sharpen your own dog grooming shears or dog grooming blades. It will not work. You will mess them up. So, you know, you've always got to keep them off to the sharpener, and then that means you got to have a spare. So it becomes a lot, but I did come to rely heavily on my curved shears, and I do to this day. And I always use a blending shear on every dog, and sometimes a chunker shear if it's a thicker coat, like my doodle, and my new poodle. I just scissored him this weekend completely. I haven't touched a clipper to his body or his legs or his head, and I probably won't for a long, long time. I'm hand scissoring him right now, and it's so much fun. But I did it all with a chunker shear. It just leaves a little texture. It looks great. His coat is a puppy coat, and it just shows every line, every single line. So I like to use the chunker shear on him, and it works beautiful. So I have linked different shears down there. My shears are in the description for you. A 7 and an 8-inch version of straight, 7 and an 8-inch version of a curved, I believe, is down there too. Some people may want a 6.5 blender. My blenders are a 7.5. I love them. but some people feel like they're too big for them. So you may want to check out the 6.5-inch blending shear that I linked for you. It's the Scorpion shear, and it's a nice one. It's affordable. I think it's the same as mine or a little bit more in price as mine. And the 7-inch chunker shear, that's the Love chunker that I love so much, that one is optional. Not everybody likes to use chunker shears. I found myself finding value in them quickly when I got my first pair years ago. And I have several pairs of chunker shears now. So I love them, I really do. And what you're trying to do, your curved shear is for rounding, your straight shear is for those precise lines like the legs, the underline, the top line. When you're coming across the top of the head, you're going to want a curved shear, rounding the feet, rounding the edge of the ear, where the ear hangs down. Your blending shears just sort of blend it all together. Clipper work into scissor work blends it in perfectly. And your chunker shear is going to blend it in even more perfectly, but more aggressively. And that's why it's not meant for every coat type, because let's picture, say, a Maltese. I wouldn't use a chunker shear on a Maltese. The coat's too thin and it's a drop coat, and unless you are so super good with those chunker shears, which even so, you're going to see the little notches. You're definitely going to see it. That coat just isn't meant for that. Your wavy, thin drop coats, like your Yorkies, no chunker shears needed there. Blending shears are superior for Maltese and for Yorkies. So basically, there you have it, guys. That is my go-to formula, mastering the common pet trim. I hope you took your snapshots. Remember that every great groomer starts by building a strong foundation, following consistent steps, choosing the right tools, and walking through each phase with purpose, knowing what you're doing while you're doing it. That's important. That's what my steps to grooming helps you guys with, the guides that I created. And what happens is this turns good grooming into great grooming. And this is what I truly believe has helped me become a successful groomer, successful, confident groomer, is definitely my continued education in grooming, trying new techniques, especially with scissor work, really getting to understand blending shears very well. That all took my grooms to a whole new level. So you have to work it. You have to work it, and you have to follow a process. My 11 steps to groom any dog, break it down into 3 categories and you're golden. That's what you need to do. So for the common pet trim, I've given you all the tools and explained where I would use the guard combs to set you up for go time, to get ready to apply that trim and feel good about it, because Amy said this will look good if I do this, and it will. So if you found today's lesson helpful, just know that this is only the beginning, that we'll continue diving even deeper into all the routines of professional pet grooming, just like I do. The things that made me successful as a business owner, successful as an entrepreneur, successful as a pet groomer, more than anything. So we're kind of going to do a little new focus for future live streams. I would like to do short little mini lessons with you guys here in the live streams, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, can you hit the thumbs up? Let me know that you don't mind if we do these short little mini lessons. Now, I go deeper with my channel members because they pay me, not me, through YouTube, but it comes in my paycheck. Okay, so, and I appreciate that. So I go deeper with my hounds in the Sheer Joy with Amy Leigh and the hounds, because I know that that's what they want. You know, that's why they paid $5 a month. They want something just a little bit more. So if you're looking forward to even more support, don't forget about the Go Groomer channel memberships that you could join. You'll receive a full printable guide from every lesson we have. It's really like curriculum, but it's building a notebook is what it is. That's what my hounds are doing. And along with an exclusive bonus lesson they're getting this weekend, guys. So I can't wait. You're going to get this lesson formatted in your PDF for a notebook, a reference. But you're also going to get the shedding breeds, that we haven't talked about that in detail. A couple times we have in the channel memberships, but we have a lot of lessons over there, and all of them can be rewatched whenever, and all the PDFs can be downloaded whenever if you lose one. So the links to everything that we discussed here today in this video are right below in the description, so be sure to check them out. And thank you so much for being here, for investing in yourself, and for being part of this amazing grooming community. We've built something truly amazing together, haven't we? I think so. I am over the moon with what we do. So let's get to your questions, because I see a lot of questions. So let me move right over here, and I'm going to scroll up a little bit so I can grab the first questions. And I love it when you guys ask questions, because it allows me to answer something that I may have overlooked, or that I may not feel is that big of a deal, but maybe it is. And that also helps other people too. So it's a win-win. It's an absolute win-win. All right, so we are going to, there's Pac-Man Bob. Haven't seen Pac-Man Bob in a while. Welcome back, friend. I think Pac-Man Bob has golden retrievers, if I'm correct. I'm very tiny on my screen. You're very tiny. Oh, I like to be tiny, so that's good. Sometimes when I look in my mirror, I'm not so tiny. So first question comes from Susie B. It says, what is the table stand dryer that your mother used in your video with Mom? Thanks. Absolutely. Susie, that's called a Duz dryer. D-U-Z. And there's a new model of it, but I believe you can still get the old model, which is what Mom has, that works great. They just, every now and then, you know, just like they changed this clipper model. This is now the KMC Plus. It's still the same clipper. It has some updates. That's the same with that Duz dryer. It's a nice one, Susie, if you have small dogs. Mom loves it for the schnauzers, and it's quiet, and it's got the nice warm settings. You can adjust the temperature. It's great for small dogs. So that's called the Duz dryer. I'm not sure that Groomer's Choice carries it. I don't think they do. Amazon does carry it, and Cherrybrook. So they have an online, Pet Store Direct might, I'm not sure. Not many people carry it. You might just want to look on Amazon, but it's a good one, Susie. Kathy Mountjoy says, as a home groomer, can you get away with only one of each blade if you have cool spray? Kathy, you can, but here's what's going to happen. At any given moment, your blade is going to dull. It happens. It doesn't just start going dull and you can still get 2 more grooms out of it. No, when it goes dull, it's dull. Well, if you're halfway through a haircut, you're going to be so frustrated because you have to finish the groom and you don't have another blade. And if the blade is dull, it will not cut. It absolutely won't. So yes, I agree with what you're saying there, Kathy, that the Cool Care spray will help cool down the blade. And sometimes you still have to let that, you have to spray it with Cool Care and let it sit and wipe it off and spray it again. Sometimes those blades get pretty hot. But the problem with that is if you don't have a backup blade, Kathy, and your blade goes dull, you're going to be like, I wish I would have listened to Amy and I would just have that blade and packaged up that brand new blade. I can unpack it, put it right on, oil it first, put it right on. So that would be your biggest regret if you didn't get a backup blade, Kathy. There's no set amount of grooms that you're ever going to get out of a clipper blade. It all depends on the coat types that you're clipping. If you're clipping a lot of harsh coats, a lot of wire coats, a lot of heavy coats, a lot of dirty coats, doing pre-clipping, your blades are going to dull quicker, absolutely quicker. So a lot of people say, how many grooms will I get out of a blade? Well, I take very good care of my blades. I clean them before and after every use. And that's the best I can do to probably ensure the longest life out of them. But it's still inevitable they're going to go dull. I just don't know when. So having the backup blades are important. Lisa says, what are your thoughts on the happy hoodies? Some dogs don't tolerate the dryer very well. I think the happy hoodies are great, Lisa. I use them. In fact, I have one right here because I just bathed Cash yesterday, I think. Yesterday or the day before. Anyway, I use it. I use it all the time. It's just a swaddling. It dulls down the noise because those dryers are loud, and dogs' sense of hearing is much more intense than ours. So you can imagine, I mean, a lot of dogs get used to the force dryers and they just don't even care. But some dogs are just hypersensitive to sound and it does bother them. So yes, I absolutely, Lisa, believe in the happy hoodies, and I think that it's a wonderful thing to keep on hand and just go ahead and add it to your grooming routine. So it also, when you're force drying the dog and you've already toweled them off with the absorber towel especially, then you put the happy hoodie on. That actually is kind of absorbent. I don't know if you guys can see it. They're kind of absorbent. So it actually helps dry those ears. If you've got like Cocker Spaniels, they have really thick, those ears take forever to dry. So it helps. And then you remove the happy hoodie once you've dried the body and the legs, and then you fluff dry the head. I think they're wonderful. So good question, because now everybody gets to hear, yeah, maybe I want to try a happy hoodie. And you can get them. We use my link on Groomer's Choice. Groomer's Choice has the best prices on everything, guys. And honestly, that's why we teamed up together, for a happy experience for everybody. Trust me. Kathy says, okay. Kathy was reminding somebody to type. Darshan said, wish you lived near PA or could pay you to mentor me. I've been out of the grooming room, the grooming world. My head is up there right now. I have a lot going on. Cannot wait to bring it all to you guys. I've been out of the grooming world for so long. I've just been getting back in, and I feel lost, that I've lost everything. No, it's like riding a bike. Just start with what you know. Break your grooms into these 3 sessions, Darshan, like 3 phases, like I explained. All the coat prep, which includes nail trimming and cleaning the ears. Do every step of the groom the same every time. If you're grooming a golden retriever and they don't get a haircut, then you skip the clipper work part or go right to the sanitary trimming, which is paw pads. So staying on a strict regimen is one of the best pieces of advice that I can give you guys, following the same steps. That is one of the best things I can tell you guys. Darshan also says, what blade do I use for the inside of the ears I completely forget. If memory serves, it's a 40 blade, or am I losing it? I don't ever use 40 blades when it comes to pet trimming. If I was doing a show dog poodle who was in a continental trim, who was used to having his face, his continental pattern work set with a 40 blade, then I could do that. But if his skin hasn't been toughened up to that yet, because you would start with a 10 blade and then you would go to a 30 blade the next trim, or a 15 blade and then a 30 blade the next trim. You've got to get the skin used to being trimmed that close. So never a 40 blade anywhere. You're going to cause irritation, especially on the inside of the ear. This is the sensitive skin. Always a 10 blade, Darshan. Always a 10 blade. I have plenty of videos on my channel that'll help you when it comes to ear trimming. I have some that are just all about ear trims. There's certain danger zones around the ear where the ear connects to the head. Also, there's a flap, a skin flap. You need to watch those videos and refresh, Darshan. I've got you covered. But be safe around those ears. Never a 40 blade. Don't use a 40 blade at all on your pet trims, ever. Just don't do it. I'm telling you. Susie B says, what chunker shear do you use? I have 2 that I really love. The Love 17 tooth blender, which I believe is linked in the description below. If it's not, it's on the Groomer's Choice site. Use my link. It's the Love 17 tooth chunker shear made by Kenshi. The second one that I like a little bit better than that, a lot bit better, well, it was $256. I better like it better, is the Peacock chunker. And I believe they're almost, and the teeth, as far as the teeth spacing, I believe it's almost the same, but the Peacock is smoother. It's a better metal. It's a different edge on that shear, and it's just smoother, but is $256. So the Love Chunker is $99. And it is a good shear, and I use it all the time. So those are probably my two favorite, I would say, Susie. But that's a good question. Kathy says, is Zoom session this coming Sunday at noon? You betcha it is. And if you can't make it, Kathy, you know it's recorded, and you know I will post it for channel members only on the community tab of my YouTube channel. So you can always rewatch it. But I would love it if you could be there. You know I love to see you guys. So, and your PDF will be linked underneath the video when I post it Sunday after we're live on YouTube. So, yeah, no worries, but yeah, it's this Sunday. It is this Sunday, right? The 4th. Yeah, that's this Sunday. Stella Jones says, boy, I got a lot of hound members and a lot of people who have been hounds for a while and new members. Welcome, you new hounds. Get over there and start watching some of that content right now, because you got a lot to catch up on. So there's a playlist on my YouTube channel called Sheer Joy with Amy, Leigh, and the Hounds, and that is all my learning sessions. But I also have other videos on my channel that are only turned on for members only. So there is a lot of content there for members. Stella Jones says, boy, can't do scissor work that good. I couldn't either when I started, Stella, so back off yourself a little bit, would you? Give yourself some time to learn. Have my scissors and all three of them, and boy, they are very sharp. Yes, all good shears are very sharp. Just practice holding them properly and opening and closing them properly, Stella. I have videos on my channel that show you how to do that, how to use your shears properly, how to use your tools properly. I have videos like that. The secret of using them on my doodles can look like teddy bear look. I think you would love a chunker shear, but if you can't master a straight shear, my blending shear would take you a long time on a doodle. It would wear you out. That's where you want the chunker shear to remove a lot of coat quickly. You, as a beginner, take advantage of using your guard combs, and then you have minimal scissor work to do. So you use the guard combs to set the length. That's what all pet groomers do, whether we're excellent at scissor work or not. It's about saving time and having a pretty finish. Christine says, do you still have an Amazon storefront? I still have my Amazon affiliate. I do. A lot of the prices of those products are fluctuating like crazy, but some of those fun products are over there, like the ducky. There's happy hoodies over there. There was pretty good prices on those. So you can still, if you have the link to my storefront, you can still go to my Amazon store to look for some of those odd products that Groomer's Choice doesn't carry. But I'm definitely weaning out of the Amazon biz. Yeah. Alex says, Alex from Canada, hello Alex from Canada, says, I'm waiting on my first puppy this summer, a golden retriever. Congratulations, that's exciting. I just got a puppy, so I know how exciting it is. What is the earliest age that I can bring him to the groomer to get him accustomed to it and not afraid? I adore you, by the way. Well, thanks, Alex. Great question. Everybody listening, this is important. Good question, Alex. Once your dog has had those second round of shots, which is usually around 8 weeks old. So your dog has a first round of shots. I don't know if Sean's in here, she would know. But that second round of shots is usually around 8 weeks old. Once they've been cleared with that, then you're okay to take them for the groomer. And that's a good idea because, first of all, Goldens usually fall in pretty well. They're pretty trusting dogs, but their groom is not going to be lengthy or taxing on them at a younger age. I mean, I would say, honestly, I would say plan on around 10 to 12 weeks. So no longer than 3 months old. I would prefer the 10-week-old. And they still got puppy coat. It dries quickly. It's a shorter groom for them, just to give them a small dose of grooming. I would definitely do it. So after they've had their second round of the shots is the answer to that. And that's a great question because you want them to be protected from all those things that they can get, you know, from not having all the antibodies yet. They have to get those shots. Stella Jones says, oops, terrible with scissors. Oh, no problem. I know, Stella, you won't be terrible with scissors for long. Practice on paint rollers. I have a video that shows you how to do that. Guys, I have so many practice methods for you guys to learn how to use your tools. Please practice. You can't do something seldomly and expect to be good at it. Nothing. Can you think of anything that you could do seldomly and be good at it? I can't. Not a one thing. I have to do stuff a lot to learn it. Susie B says, are there different results between a 3/8 inch blade and the 3/8 inch guard comb? The 3/8, I think you're thinking about the 3 blade, which is an Andis blade. Yes, that is right there between a 5 and a 4 blade. It's a little longer than a 4 blade. Yes, the 3/8 inch guard comb literally leaves 3/8 inch of coat. And the 3/8 inch blade, I think I know the one you're talking about. I don't think it leaves. And you will get a different finish with a blade versus a guard comb. When you're trying to use a longer blade, which they usually don't make them any longer than a 3 blade, the hair, it's just harder to run it through the coat. The guard combs, because of the way they're designed, they rake through the coat a lot easier. So I just recommend the guard combs, absolutely. Stella says, hey, good idea. You should have a class live to be there with 4 dogs, but having us trim a dog, and then you tell us what we're doing wrong. I would love to have a class like that, Stella. I would love to. You know how hard that is to coordinate, to get people together and say, we're going to do it here. And people say, well, I don't want to do it there. You have to come to California. Well, I can't come. I can't be in 2 places at once. Yeah, I don't know. That seems hard. I would love to do that. I would love like 4 students, fun, have some soft music on. Everybody has their own dog. We start prepping first, and then we move on to clipper work. And then I just kind of float around the room like a fairy godmother and say, you're doing great. Or I say, give me that clipper. Hold it like this. Yes, I would love to do that. I really would. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for us, Stella. You'll be the first to know, you guys. Lisa says, so glad to be a new hound. I'm so glad you are too, Lisa. There's a lot of content for you that you're going to love. I've been grooming for 7 years and looking to get certified eventually. That's awesome. You've already got a lot of experience. You're ready to go. You're ready for a certification. Any suggestions for reputable certification programs? There are a couple of options. They're almost a little bit of a pain if you just want to get judged on one groom. So there's the AKC program that will certify you as a master groomer, but it's not easy. You can look up that program. There's the PGC, PGA, PGC. There's the National Dog Grooming. Are they still? Yes. Are they still certifying? National Dog Grooming Association of America. There's not a lot. You will learn about how to become certified at the trade show booths. There are a couple places that will certify you, but it's not easy. It's not easy. You got to bring dogs. You got to groom them in a competition ring, it's not easy. Other than that, you have to go through a program like Paragon School. So maybe you could just take the 3rd phase and get certified. You could call them and ask them, Lisa, say, look, I have 7 years experience and I always have something to learn, yes, but say, I want to be certified. I really want to be certified. And if I just take the one module, the last module of your dog grooming program, which is still probably going to cost you a couple $1,000s, say, will that then certify me through you as a certified pet groomer? And I understand you wanting that certification. I did too. It was important to me. You want people to know that you take it seriously and that you are trained. It's very important. And trust me, you need to be trained. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in the grooming salon if you don't have proper training. So try that, Lisa. And And I'm with you on that idea. You want to be certified. Cynthia says, hey, Amy, it's been a long time since I've been with the hounds. Well, hello, Cynthia. I hear the hound dogs barking. Do you have a video for grooming a long-haired Lhasa Apso? No, I don't. I never had any pet clients to date that were in full coat. So I don't have that. I have a full-coated Yorkie, a couple videos on that. I don't have any other videos on like a full-coated Shih Tzu, but if you look at my Yorkie in full coat video, you would handle it almost the same way, but you would just have more coat with a Lhasa. So yeah, sorry, babe. I can't help you with that one. Well, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this learning session. I have. I really love putting it together for you, and I'm going to try to do some small little mini sessions when we get together live from the grooming table, little mini lessons. And then if you want more than mini lessons, you need to be a hound. It's $5 a month. It's not going to kill you. Your coffee costs more than that every day. So also, if you would like to sign up for my weekly free dog grooming newsletter, there's a link in the description below for you to do that. I write it myself. I come up with the topics. I put it all together, and I send it right to your inbox every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's a link for that. Channel members, I will see you this Sunday. Remember, we're getting together at 12 o'clock, and you're going to get a really nicely packaged version of this lesson here today, but in a whole different way. And the PDF is just really going to be good, so you're going to love it. If you're not a channel member, please join the hounds. We'd love to have you. We do weekly learning sessions. Hey, if you want to know what the hounds get, I just made a post today because I keep getting emails and stuff of people that are unclear of how to manage their membership. Like, what do we do? How do we get in the Zoom calls? Nobody seems to know. So I will be making often post on my community tab on my YouTube channel, descriptive, telling everybody what you get, how you get it if you're a channel member, because I want you to know it's great and I want you to take advantage of it. There's 480 of you channel members. Wow. I mean, I think it's awesome. So thank you all. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you if you're not a channel member. But the last thing that I'm going to share with you right here today, guys, you know what it is the Farmer's Dog Super Bowl commercial that warmed the hearts of dog lovers all over the world. But there's a reason why I show you this commercial at the end of every live stream, guys. For one, I want to remind you how much we love our dogs, and we always want to do the best we can for them, whatever we can do. But I truly believe in fresh food feeding more. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen my other videos. I did a whole series on dog food early in my YouTube career, but I know the benefits, and I have seen it firsthand with my own dogs too. So, and I've done a lot of research. But the Farmer's Dog is, oh, where is it? It is FDA approved human grade quality ingredients, and that's important. So we're not putting byproducts in a bowl and saying, oh, it's fresh food, it's better and it's expensive. No, it is human grade. You could eat it. If we had something go wrong where we couldn't get to grocery stores, we could pull our dog's food out of the freezer and eat it, and we would be healthy, so healthy. So if I would love to save you 80%. I partnered with the Farmer's Dog because I believe in their food. And I would love to help save you 80% on your first box of the Farmer's Dog, delivered straight to your door if you're interested. There's a link in the description below. If it's not, it's under affiliates, because I had a lot of stuff in the links here today. I had to put a short link that has all of my stuff that I'm partnered with, and the Farmer's Dog is in there. So please take advantage of that. There's only one more thing to say to you guys other than thank you for coming. And I love you, and I'm very proud of you for taking charge of your pet grooming journey. I'm really proud of you. You are. That's why you follow me, and I'm sure your grooms reflect it, and your grooming skills reflect it. And you will increase your speed and your knowledge and your skill as you continue to do it, guys. That's how it goes. But the last thing I want to say to you is long live